derogatory.
We're not. I don't want to support sex workers.
Fine. She's
especially
just a bitch.
since they're probably all going to get kicked off their health insurance as well. Maybe that's what the right wants. I don't know.
You want unhealthy hookers? Because this is how you get unhealthy hookers.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Blue Sedition podcast. I'm Nate Brady alongside my co-host.
I am Mike Smith, everybody. How y'all doing? Glad you could be with us.
Mike, I'm not in the mood for this shit today. that's the
How
bottom
are you
line.
not in the mood for this shit today? It's no different than any other day.
No, it's
the same shit on a different day.
It's,
by the way, we just got murked on YouTube. We used too many swears in the first 20 seconds. It's all over.
It's over. Well, whatever. It's a different kind of day. In that it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And today is one of those days, as the House gets closer to approving Trump's big, stupid, ugly bill.
It's big and beautiful, just like me.
I can't tell if you're. I can't tell.
No one can tell.
What are we doing?
No one can tell.
You tell me what we're doing. I'm serious. I'm not in the mood for
let's
this.
catch the people up. Let's talk about the big beautiful bill for a second.
All right.
So it passed the Senate through the reconciliation process. After a couple of revisions, they had to rewrite some ridiculous things that were going to be laws and make them somehow about budget. We talked about that a little bit in the last episode, where they were just going to be like, the maximum anyone can spend on this thing is $0, effectively killing a branch of the government. But it passed Senate reconciliation on a vote of 51-50. It did require JD Vance, the Vice President, to come down and cast the tie-breaking vote as President of the Senate. Lisa Murkowski, I'm gonna let you vent a little bit, but I'm gonna say she was the last holdout vote on the right as the 50th vote, and basically said that the bill was terrible and she hopes that the House rewrites it. But she passed it anyway because she's a coward.
She passed it anyway because she's a coward. Let me ask you something. Why? How is it? There were 3 Republicans, as it says here, that voted against it. Rand Paul, we knew would. Tom Tillis and Susan Collins. It seems to me like whenever there is a terrible bill, that there are these at least 2 senators, Susan Collins and Murkowski, that are always the like, I'm not gonna vote for this, and then they draw straws, and it's like, okay, you vote no, and I have to vote yes, so that we make sure it's passed, and you have to write the apology letter, and next time I'll do it. It's because no matter what, it's always going to pass. There was never going to be a chance that this didn't, that this wasn't 49-51, against, right? How does that happen?
Right. Well, they're all grifters.
They're all grifters, right? It's money behind the
right
scenes.
Is all grifters. So, like you said, the fix was in. They were going to vote for the bill. It didn't matter what it said. They have to appease their God King. And if they didn't pass the bill, and crucially, if they didn't pass the bill with enough time for it to pass the House and get signed by the president before the 4th of July, the daddy was going to have a problem, and he was going to start saying, he's going to deport Lisa Murkowski. I don't know what his plan was, but it was going to be something like that.
Listen, I think it was clear that she was bribed in some form or another.
She got stuff. I mean, that's the way that these reconciliation bills, really any bill, is going to get hamstrung by people who want to do writers and hang on and make it somehow palatable to their constituency. So obviously, Rand Paul can't vote for this bill. Rand Paul has been shouting since his dad was shouting about budgets having a meeting and like the debt ceiling being ridiculous and all these other things. And this bill just explodes the debt over time, and it raises spending and it cuts taxes to the wealthy while
For the
And
record,
he can't vote for that. That's just completely, it's the antithesis of his, political agenda.
okay,
And
but
so
but
he
but for
has
the
to be the guy that goes like, I can't vote for this. Lisa, you got to vote for this one.
but yeah, for the record, Rand Paul is a disgusting piece of shit. So let's not, yeah, okay, he did the quote unquote right thing here, but just like Susan Collins did, it didn't matter because of the four that didn't vote, one of them had to vote for it, and they were gonna draw straws, like I said.
Yeah,
And if you go back and look, Murkowski got, what did she get? Something like, she got something for Alaskan whaling captains, right? Like she did. She got
that's
like
real.
she did. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see.
I thought it was something about like the SNAP benefits cutoff, like being raised just high enough that it basically wouldn't impact Alaskans. But
I mean, stuff like that
who
too.
knows, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like,
it's New York Times.
oh, you got New York
Wait,
Times.
hold on.
You could find it, I'm sure.
Here it is. A specific provision was added allowing Alaskan whaling captains to claim larger deductions up to $50,000 for their expenses, a benefit unique to Alaska's indigenous communities engaged in traditional whaling. What the fuck are you talking about?
Here?
What is happening? So, an estimated 51,000 people annually are going to die because of this bill. Okay? But Murkowski got deductions for Alaskan whaling captains? Fuck off. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this.
You can deal with it. And I think that it's interesting. I mean, what the problem is that for the last how many years we've been begging for there to be consequences, and it seems like every time we get on that that bandwagon, the consequences never come. There are threats, but they never come. But the only things that actually have impacted any of these ghouls on the right is consequences, like political consequences. A lot of their constituents don't listen, they don't pay attention to the news, but a lot of their constituents get federal funding, and if they're going to be cutting all of that, and that will have political consequences. I think you're going to find a lot of people in the coming years who have voted for Republicans who are going to find themselves worse off because of that vote, specifically provisions in this big, beautiful bill.
But not just this. I mean, that's been going on for decades. It's been going on for decades with these people. They are voting for or against their best interests, and then when the time comes, their Republican president is out of office in 4 years, and they go, I can't believe Obama did this to me.
Right.
And they fucking fall for it every goddamn single time. So let's take a step back and talk about why this bill is so terrible. Okay, we're ranting, we're raving about it. I was having a discussion last night with a family member of mine who I love very much, but she is unfortunately extremely misinformed on this topic. And one of the things that she keeps going back to, which is what I think the conservative media has hammered into the average American conservative voter, is that this bill primarily takes money away from working class leeches, basically people who are leeching off the system, right? They're on Medicaid, they're getting food assistance through SNAP, they're doing all of these things while they're just 29-year-olds sitting on the couch playing video games, when in fact that is not even close to the case. So her argument is, listen, all this is really doing is cutting that money away from those people and reducing the deficit, and so that we're not paying for, I'm not using my tax dollars to pay for this wasteful spending. So the premise of the argument is completely wrong, because
I was going to say, can we talk for just a quick second about harkening back to Biden era and his wanting to basically do away with many school debts, tuition debts. And he was like, we're just gonna do away with it. And I remember people on the right being like, but that means that the rich people are gonna get that too. And we're like, sure, who cares? Why do you care about that? That's a weird thing to be upset about. And it's the same argument here where you're like, oh, okay, hold on though. What about those people who are just sitting on the couch? Shouldn't they have medical insurance? Like,
Well,
why do we care?
okay. Yeah.
But fine.
The thing is it's such a small percentage of fraudsters, kind of like all that Social Security fraud that we arrested all of those people for. Let me check my notes. 0 people were arrested for. Sorry, my fault. Here's the reality of it, right? 100 people are in the room, okay, and they all need health insurance, okay, and I give it to them, and one person I find out didn't actually need it. So I say, fuck it, none of you are getting it. And then 30 of them die. That's literally what is happening here. And then it's in the guise of we're cutting this is a big beautiful bill that's cutting wasteful funding. It adds $3.3 trillion to the deficit over the next 10 years because the majority of these cuts are being offset by tax cuts for the wealthy. Oh my God, where have we fucking seen this before? It's
yeah.
I mean, come on, man. It's households earning over $217,000 are going to get an average tax cut of $12,500. The top 1% of earners are going to get the biggest tax cuts, while the bottom 20% of earners are going to lose money. And those 20% of the people are the ones like the person that I'm talking about who are celebrating this bill because they literally don't understand what's in it. And they were duped into believing.
I think so. I think that we've seen this a lot. Obviously, what you're talking about just reminds me so much of the quote welfare queens thing that Reagan did.
Right.
When he was running, where he's basically trying to do what you're saying, we need to cut all of these social spending things because of that one guy in the room when there's 99 people who need it.
Right.
And are following the rules or whatever. Right. I mean, but on the flip side of that, you have that argument of like, we need to take it away from everybody because that one guy's cheating. And then I want to be like, well, can we take away all the guns because of the one guy who shoots everybody in a school?
Right.
Can we do that? Oh, no, we can't do that.
Literally, as the argument continued, she said, she went on to about immigrants saying it's not fair to my in-laws who did it the right way. And I'm like, oh, here we go. So nothing can ever improve. It's the same argument we saw about student loans, right? It's nothing can ever improve unless it happened to you first, right?
Yes.
So I paid my way.
Approach of everything. Yeah.
I paid my way through high interest federal student loans, which means that my son has to too.
Has to.
He has to.
Can't improve.
It can't be
Cannot
better.
improve.
Why aren't we still using horse and buggy if things can't improve? Like my grandfather, my great grandfather had to ride a horse and buggy to work every day, right? Like how come I get to drive a vehicle that goes 80 miles an hour? These people don't get it. They just don't get it, and it's selfish. Because even their reasoning behind why this bill is okay, even if all of the things about it were true, it cuts, people that don't necessarily need Medicaid and healthcare or whatever. It's still, their reasoning is still flawed. Okay. So when the reality is none of it is actually true.
Yeah. The thing that I find funny is that so few people actually are going to be impacted in a meaningful way. Or let's just talk about like Medicaid as an example, right? Because a lot of people in California don't qualify for Medicaid just sort of holistically, but there's a Medi-Cal version of that in California that a lot of people use instead. And so they're not going to see that much of a change there. You're going to see it in the poorer states. You're going to see it in Mississippi and Alabama and places like that where people are really impacted by these changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But those places are so deeply red that I wouldn't expect them to like have a lasting effect where it changes the political landscape of that state. Mississippi's always going to be red. There's no way it can't be. But there's no political consequences outside of electing a different red politician, right? So does that change the political discourse of those states and those counties, those representative districts in a way where the people who voted for this bill might be impacted? They might be changed out for a different card. Brings us to it's a thought experiment, obviously, but it brings us to another point around the idea of Elon. I'm sure you saw, is coming out and saying, because this is such a spending bill and they brought him in to quote cut fat, he's so furious about this now that he's threatening to start a political party where he's going to primary against everybody who voted for it. And good for you, Elon. That's a worthwhile use of your billions and billions of dollars.
He wants to start the America Party or whatever the hell. I mean, it's
the X Party.
It's useless and garbage, whatever. But yeah, fine. Primary the Republicans. You guys spend all your money fighting each other. I'm totally happy with that. I don't know what else to say. This bill is disgusting. It's going to be one of the worst things to ever happen to this country. It's going to eliminate jobs. It's going to cause deaths. It's going to destroy families. It's going to increase the wealth gap. It's going to be one of the largest transfers of wealth from the working class to the 1% that we've seen. I just don't know what else to say.
That sounds very familiar. Did any particular politician, maybe a senator, say something like that recently?
I don't know. It's that guy it's that socialist, communist guy, probably.
That socialist, the crazy socialist,
the socialist, communist, Marxist. I don't know.
Okay, so this being a political podcast, I have to ask.
Okay.
What do the Democrats do in response? They can't stop this bill. There's no way. It's going to get enacted. It's going to get signed. It's going to have some features in it that are not pleasant to anyone. Do the Democrats, do they need to run on reversing it, or do they need to run on something better?
Fuck yeah.
Oh God, I'm killing him today, folks. He's gonna die.
I'm dying. It's almost like, and I might catch some flack for this, but it's almost like the Democrats want this because this has been the playbook for the last, since I've been paying attention. So,
right.
Almost 25 years, right? Where something terrible happens.
Yes.
Everything gets shifted to the right, to this authoritarian police state, wealthy, powerful, whatever. It gets shifted to the right, and then the Democrats, they run on it, right? They, like you said,
yes.
They fill the coffers.
So for instance,
because
Bush transitioning to Obama,
right?
Case in point, it was
right.
Post 9/11, obviously terrible 8 years under Bush. Everything gets worse.
Mm-hmm.
And then Obama, with a surge in the Senate and the House, I'll point out as well, huge blue wave, comes in there with change as his complete slogan. We need to change from these terrible years, these terrible policies, and wins in landslide, basically. Not only that, but destroyed Hillary Clinton in the primaries.
And can I just
out of nowhere?
And I want to remind people, okay, I'm not going to sit here and bash your favorite Democrats. Okay, I'm not going to come in here and
I will. I'm going to do
Obama and kill Hillary and whatever. But Obama filled his coffers on hope and change in 2008. Look it up. He explicitly promised to sign the Freedom of Choice Act. He promised to codify Roe v. Wade. Okay. He had blue everything. And guess what? We could only focus on one thing at a time. We had to pass Obamacare. We couldn't do all those other things. And here we are. Okay.
So I think that it's interesting because there is a very similar, although less impactful. Obama had, from his bully pulpit and the Senate and the House, like he had all the cards, as the big orange idiot likes to say. And you're right, from the bully pulpit, he wanted to focus his attention on the ACA. And they passed the most spineless version of the ACA that they could, because that's how many Republicans they could get on board with that. And I agree, but they did something. Now I agree they should do more. I agree. How do you? I don't know anything about the process for codifying Roe v. Wade like that. It, like, just have a law that says abortion is legal in these United States. Like, that's the law, and then see who signs on to it. Like, what do you do?
They couldn't even bring it up to a vote. But that's my point. It was spineless, feckless actions by the Democrats. Right. Show the people who would vote against this. And you just said something about the spineless version of the ACA. They did do that, but as I just want to remind you, they passed it when everything was blue. Not a single Republican voted for it, so they didn't need to make the most spineless version of the ACA.
Right. Well, they had some blue dogs, obviously. Like, he's gone now, but the Senator Manchin from Virginia, I want to say
34 Democrats voted against it in 2010. So it still passed the House 219 to 212, and 60 to 39 in the Senate. So they could have done more. It could have gone further. But the fact that 4 months after Obama took office, he said, Roe v. Wade isn't my highest legislative priority. All the things I campaigned on are not my highest legislative priority. So this is all, I'm circling back to what do the Democrats need to do about this? They're going to do the thing that they always do. They're going to be loud. They're going to complain. They're going to tell people the Republicans are taking away your Medicaid and your Medicare. And if we get the wrong people, if we vote for the wrong Democrats in Congress and we take back the House and we take back the Senate, nothing is going to change. And so
what a campaign strategy.
That's literally what it is. And they're going to go, we can't, we play by the rules. We do this while they're getting their big donors are happy. So that's why you got to vote for candidates like, that's why you got to vote for the Zohrans and the Cats and people like that who are coming in, who are fired up and who nothing else in their minds. They're not beholden to the big donors. They got nothing else in their minds other than fighting for the working class, period. And nothing is going to sway them from that. And that's the kind of Democrats that we need to see, because if we keep voting for these same, Nancy Pelosi-esque Democrats, I don't care what the Democratic strategy is. It doesn't matter. It's because nothing is going to change. So what do the Democrats need to do? They need to all resign. That's what they need to do. Every Democrat that's currently there.
They need some actual leadership, right? I mean, what we need to do, I want to be honest here. I want to just lay it out in no uncertain terms. Let's pick one thing to talk about. Let's say we want to codify Roe v. Wade. The avenue that I see with the least resistance to it is to win the House, elect a speaker who aligns with that goal in mind. So they're going to bring it to votes, and they're going to whip those votes until they've got, the majority. Am I wrong or am I right?
I don't know. I think we just do it as an executive order, right?
Aren't this SCOTUS, you think you can pass an executive order?
Aren't we just ruling by executive order right now?
We are sort of ruling by fiat via executive order, yes. But I think that, what I want to see, and I guess this is in 26, right, would be the midterm elections, blue wave, retake the House, retake the Senate, less likely to retake the Senate, but retake the House anyway. And you elect a speaker who's going to move on that motion first. We're going to write a bill that codifies Roe v. Wade, and we're going to vote on it. And you're going to whip the vote until you have the votes to send it to the Senate.
And they're going to say that this was our legislative priority. We had to give up other things like your livelihood, your health care, your whatever.
It's already done.
That's the only way.
They're done with that. They're moving on to other stuff.
It's just this is the way it is, man. And I'm just tired of it. I mean, they're bartering with our literal lives. Okay. And you and I happen to be lucky enough to be in a position where we can hop on the internet and talk about this. And there are people just for now. and there are people just right below our pay grade that are not even going to be able to survive this. Okay, I mean, you know, to be honest, there are some weeks I got to go put my grocery bills on the credit card, right? And wonder, you know, what happens if I lose my job tomorrow, you know?
Right.
And to me, the people who see this kind of bill and are rah, rah, rah are either just hateful and excited that they know that this will hurt the other side, so they don't care if it hurts them, or they have no ability to empathize with people who are not in
I do want to point this out because this is an important. I think the point you're making is important. I think that there will be people who will rah 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 not understand that the gun's actually pointed at them. But on the other hand, there is a huge swath of the electorate who are aware of the bill and the contents therein. I want to talk about just a few polls that we've got over the moment.
Okay.
So there's a Fox News poll out this week. Only 38% of registered voters support the one big beautiful bill. 59% oppose it. This is Fox News.
Okay.
And this is registered voters. So already, you know, they're in a hole there. You look at other ones, Quinnipiac, KFF, I mean, 27% of registered voters oppose it, 53% oppose it, according to Quinnipiac. The KFF bill has 35 of adults in favor of it. They have the Pew Research Center saying 29% of people favor the bill. You look up and down these things, and I'll point out, as you get bluer and bluer in sway, like the Washington Post and whatnot, you get 23%, you get 21%, and the numbers just keep plummeting. This is not a popular bill. This is deeply unpopular, and the ramifications of this bill, the execution of this bill is going to so drastically hurt people that number is only going to shrink. The approval of the bill is going to continue to decline, and it is something that Democrats will have an option to, you know, campaign on. They're going to be like, the big beautiful, because it has a name. They're going to be like, the big beautiful bill screwed you. The Republicans screwed you. I mean, just do the Sanders hands.
I mean, 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were showing videos on the pod of town halls, Republican town halls, where people,
where they're calling them crisis actors.
And
like, you're not a real person. You're not real.
I mean, literal Republicans in red states are like, you cut my Medicaid, I'm going to cut you, basically. And they promise this isn't going to cut Medicaid. This isn't going to cut Medicare. This isn't going to make it harder. This isn't whatever. I mean, time after time, we see anytime the government is involved in, okay, with just a couple more forms you're going to fill out before you can get this thing, you're never going to get the thing. Okay.
You're never going to get the thing.
And to the point that this bill has a name, you're right. Democrats have done something I want to share with you. I don't know if you've seen this yet.
Yeah, let's see.
Democrats have actually done something very meaningful here. Chuck Schumer shared a video of him changing the name of the bill to like the one big ugly bill. So Chuck Schumer, he drew a line from it. And so here we go. Here are the top comments. Here are the top comments. Way to do the least. This is embarrassing. Cool, good. All caps, retire. Boy, you really showed them, Chuck. Oh yeah, that will really help all of us as our insurance premiums go up. So at least the Democrats, way to go, Democrats. This is great.
Man, I got to say, Chuck Schumer is so far away from the pulse of your average voter in this, especially for the Democrats in this day and age. He is truly an embarrassment, and he needs to either hand the reins off to somebody else. I know he's the what do they call it? The senior Democrat in the Senate, but I mean, he needs to let somebody else lead. He's not effective. He's not effectual to the voter base, and he says this shit, and I'm just like, if you weren't such an old sad man, this would be cringe. Like, this is like grandpa go to bed stuff.
This is grandpa go to bed stuff. Chuck Schumer, retire. Hakeem Jeffries, retire. Nancy Pelosi,
I'll point out,
retire.
Do you know who was on the House floor and spitting fire just today? I'm going to say it. It's AOC. because
yeah,
she came out and she says this bill is terrible for people who work for tips. And I'll tell you why, because I'm the only one in this fucking room who ever worked for tips. And here, just laid out all the issues with it. And she's like, I end up paying more in taxes into this big, beautiful bill as a tip worker, and I can't afford rent half the time. What are you doing? Why are you voting for this? And it's just like,
let's
put her in a place where she has a megaphone. Please, God, give her a megaphone.
Let's share exactly what you're talking about here.
I'm ready.
As one of the only people in this body who has lived off of tips, I want to tell you a little bit about the scam of that text, a little bit of the fine print there. The cap on that is $25,000. While you're jacking up taxes on people who make less than $50,000 across the United States, while taking away their SNAP, while taking away their Medicaid, while kicking them off of the ACA and their health care extensions. So if you're at home and you're living off tips, you do the math. Is that worth it to you? Losing all your health care, not able to feed your babies, not being able to put a diaper on their bottom in exchange for what? This bill is a deal with the devil. It explodes our national debt. It militarizes our entire economy, and it strips away health care and basic dignity of the American people. For what? To give Elon Musk a tax break and billionaires the greedy taking of our nation. We cannot stand for it, and we will not support it.
There's our first lady president, I think.
I mean, seriously, I don't even know. That needs to be the Democratic Party. That right there.
Yeah.
So when you say what can the Democratic Party do, that's all of that
right there. I mean, and it speaks to the constituency. It speaks to the common man, and it makes it plainly clear: your taxes are going up, Elon's taxes are going down. Why are you voting for it? Very simple. Great messaging, and she does it with fire. I love it so much. Whereas you have Chuck Schumer being like, "We're going to call it the bad bill," boo.
And then he turns and he goes, "Fight, fight," and he tries to start a chant. And I mean.
You know what? I think I'm sick of this shit today, Nate. I think
am I rubbing off on you? I'm sick and tired of this shit.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I just want to go take a nap.
You want to go take a nap?
No,
I have more stuff to talk about before
we do have more stuff to talk about. I mean, I think one of the big things, if we only talk about two things today, I think this is another thing that I wanted to talk about, because the Democratic Party consists of weak, feckless, spineless losers who only care about capitulation because otherwise their donors will flee from them, or they might get threatened with arrest and removal from the country. So if the president is not targeting you specifically and saying you're a communist and he's going to go out there and arrest you himself, then you're not doing it right.
Right.
What the hell's going on here? What's happening? Is that what he's saying to Zohran Mamdani?
Yeah. The gist of it here is that, and we talked about this on the last spot, but Zohran Mamdani won the New York primary for the Democratic Party against Cuomo. And in the run-up to that, everybody on the right was very clear about the position. They're like, if this socialist, communist, devil man who's evil wins, and he's going to burn New York to the ground. And basically, he's just carrying on with that because Mamdani won effortlessly,
right,
in direct fashion. And now Trump is saying, well, we can't have him there because he's not going to work with us because we got the screws to Eric Adams, obviously. The fix is in there. And if we get somebody in here who's not going to work with us, then we won't have any help in New York, one of the biggest places where we're going to be doing our ICE raids and everything else. So he threatens to arrest him. And I think it was Rep. Ogles went one step further and was calling for his denaturalization.
Right.
Basically saying, I'm going to take an American citizen, legal American citizen, and make them not an American citizen so we can deport them, which should be terrifying to everybody. If we allow that to happen, then all bets are off.
For some historical context, denaturalization has happened very, very rarely in the U.S., mostly against Nazis or war criminals. And now the Trump administration, who promised, first of all, I'm only gonna deport those illegal aliens and really focus on those
criminal ones,
those violent ones, is now seriously looking at denaturalizing American citizens who did it the right way because he doesn't like their politics.
Yeah, and in fact, in that call, as I recall, I think he was calling on Pam Bondi to open an investigation into him, and the end result being like he wanted denaturalization and eventual deportation. And I'm like, if that's not weaponization of the DOJ and calling for it very blatantly on social media, I don't know what is. That seems very straightforward to me. That's just, you're weaponizing the DOJ to try and deport an American citizen who is your political rival.
Right. I mean, I don't know what else.
Plain as day.
Yeah. There's no way that this happens. He said 1,000 times as the thing happens. But yeah, no, I don't particularly see this one happening, but I did. It's funny. I made a comment on the Blue Ski recently where I said, if this actually happens, the street, cities will burn. And the one comment on it was, why would the cities burn if they haven't already? And I was, God damn it. I want to take a nap. It just.
I'll point out as well that SCOTUS is not making this easier. They recently ruled against a TRO that was issued by a lower court, basically stopping deportations that the government was trying to just get out quickly, and saying, like, they have to have due process. It's part of immigration law. You have to do this. And the SCOTUS was like, whoa. You can't stop the president from doing stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
hold on. We're going to consider this.
Yeah.
In a couple of months, but for now, they can keep doing that.
Yeah.
No stay, no TRO.
To clarify that,
they're going to do their job, and we'll talk about this later.
That and the birthright naturalization, though, just to be clear, it wasn't necessarily about okay, go ahead and deport. It was whether that particular court had jurisdiction in stopping the president from So still not a good precedent, though.
Hold on. Just, I hate to belabor this, but it's not a good look for the Supreme Court of the United States to say, well, no, hold on. You didn't file this paperwork correctly. Okay. So they can keep deporting people even if they're American citizens. That's fine. You did it wrong. Like, that's just stupid. That's a dumb argument. And them waiting until a class action shows up and then ending up in SCOTUS, which is going to take a year and a half, is the dumbest thing that they could have ruled on. And I'll point out that it sets precedent to the idea that as long as the United States executive branch does it quickly enough before anyone can sue them and halt the process with a stay, then it's fine, because we have to wait for this thing to happen in a year and a half from now. So if the president gets the gall if Pam Bondi arrests, Zohran and denaturalizes him, which I'm not really sure that they can do directly, but if they claim they did it and then put him on a plane to El Salvador, you're just never going to see him again. And that's how it's going to work. And SCOTUS is allowing this to go on because they're obviously culpable to the fascists who are taking over. They like their plane trips. They like their fishing trips, and they love their, Winnebagos or whatever those stupid things are that Clarence Thomas likes. I don't remember what it was called. Yeah. Just giant RVs.
I think the next podcast is just going to be just scream therapy, like 30 minutes of just screaming, just top of my lungs.
It's like follow along meditation, but it's just Nate like rage screaming, and you get to follow along and rage scream at home.
Guided meditation, but it's just screaming.
Kind of genius.
Well, okay, what else we got? Let's go over one more. Let's give us one more topic to go over before we wrap it up today.
Which one you want?
I don't know. Trump lawsuit against. Yeah, he lost the lawsuit against the pollster. I do want to just touch on that real quick because I just saw that Paramount this morning
Yeah, settled.
settled quote unquote for 16 million because of the interview with Kamala Harris.
Yes.
It's just a bribe. It's a bribe for to get their merger to go through. That's all that was.
I think it's a kickback, a bribe, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, so much of what we're seeing from the Trump administration is that crime is sort of legal when you have a certain amount of money. They're just like, that's okay. It's fine. Like the cryptocurrencies, I think, are super interesting to me. There's a YouTuber, CoffeeZilla. I think y'all should check him out if you haven't. He covers a lot of this cryptocurrency scammery that's going on right now, and it's deeply fascinating because it's so obviously like rug pulls and just grifting and stealing and just outright theft of people and their money. And it's fine. Like crypto's okay now, and this is just the way things are now. And the president has a crypto, and his wife has a crypto, and I'm just like, feels like crime is what we should be doing.
Look, I think. Okay, I need to qualify. I do think there needs to be a decentralized payment system, a decentralized currency, because I don't want the federal government to decide I'm a communist or whatever made up nonsense, freeze all of my funds, all of that stuff, right? There needs to be, I care about privacy, I care about anonymity, I care about the government not being able to take away my rights, which basically all of my rights lay in my monetary worth for the most part, right?
In this country, yes.
In this country, yeah. Right? So I do think there needs to be that. And for a time, I thought maybe Bitcoin was the answer. Maybe it still is. Maybe some form of Bitcoin is the answer. But there are 150,000 shitcoins out there that have no purpose, literally no purpose other than to speculate on. And 99% of them are scams.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. It's interesting, and the more I look into that, I posted on Bluesky earlier about Tesla stock because they had their quarterly earnings report come out and like deliveries and things. And Tesla is bombing. They're not selling cars. They're not making money. The EV credit's going away. Right. And Tesla's stock is, over $300 a share. And the Bloomberg report that I'd linked to basically said in one paragraph, like, you want to own a sliver of this company and you think that its valuation is this high? You need therapy.
Right.
and it's the same with these shit coins, these meme coins, where I'm just like, how on earth do you wake up in the morning thinking that you need to own this? It's like the NFTs. Like I never understood that. I never be like, I need to own this piece of something because I'm putting some intrinsic value in it. Or extrinsic value, I guess.
Can I play a verse of a song? I don't think do we get DMCA'd if I play a verse of a song on here?
Not if nobody reports it.
All right, let's do it. I'm gonna play a verse of a song because it is exactly this. And let me see if I can find it real quick. This is gonna take me 30 seconds. Let's see. And I've been kind of obsessed with this guy, but I love this verse. So I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play this now. And I think it's kind of like a reaction video. All right, let me see if I can find it. Okay, here it is.
Rhyme. She sells seashells on a seashore, but the value of these shells will fall due to the laws of supply and demand. No one wants to buy shells because there's loads on the sand.
Oh, that's right. Hold on. I have to. Yeah. Okay.
I'm
like, this is great, and you're like, I don't hear anything. All right. Here it comes. Because I got to share I'll share the tab.
You got to share it. That's right.
I'll share it on the YouTubes. Here we go.
All right.
fingering crime. I'll break it down for you motherfuckers line by line. This is business economics in a nursery rhyme. She sells seashells on a seashore, but the value of these shells will fall due to the laws of supply and demand. No one wants to buy shells because there's loads on the sand. Step one, you must create a sense of scarcity. Shells will sell much better if the people think they're rare, you see. Bear with me, take as many shells as you can find and hide them on an island. Stockpile them high until they're rarer than a diamond. Step two, gotta make the people think that they want them, really fucking want them. Hit them like Bronson. Influencers, product placement, featured primetime entertainment. If you haven't got a shell, then you're just a fucking waste, man. Free, it's monopoly. Invest inside some property. Start a corporation, make a logo, do it properly. Shells must sell, that will be your new philosophy. Swallow all your morals, they're a poor man's quality. 4. Expand, expand, expand. Clear forest, make land, fresh blood on hands. 5. Why just shells? Why limit yourself? She sells seashells, sell oil as well. 6. Guns, sell stock, sell diamonds, sell rock, sell water to a fish, sell the time to a clock. 7. Press on the gas, take your foot off the brakes, then run to be the president of the United States. 8. Big smile, make big wave, that's great. Now the truth is overrated, tell lies out the gate. 9. Polarize the people, controversy is the game. It don't matter if they hate you, if they all say your name. 10. The world is yours. Step out on the stage to a round of applause. You're a liar, cheat, a devil, a whore, and you sell seashells on the seashore. Rain, rain, rain.
I mean, that sums it up right there.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good, right? But that's all to say, yeah, it's fake. It's fake scarcity. It's, oh my God, NFTs, there's only one. You got to buy it. You're an idiot if you don't buy this thing. It's the same with everything, right? It's a scam.
But how do you not see that? That seems so obvious to me.
It seems obvious to us because I think that we've been down on capitalism.
So let me
for a while.
Fine,
you
but
know?
like let me break it down to you. Like I have relatives in the Midwest, we'll say, who would get into these things like the commemorative plates that they sell on the TV,
they've been doing
the
this
coins
forever.
or whatever, like
Right.
real coins,
Coins. Yep, the gold plated.
And it's the same thing where there's only 20,000 of these. Be the first caller to blah blah.
Right.
And they would display these in their house, and they're proud of them, and they would claim value in it. And I'm just like,
well, there was value in it if somebody else was willing to buy it, right? So there was technically.
But isn't that the game? Aren't these all run pulls at the end of the day?
That's the game. That's totally the game. They got me hooked into the game when I was 6 years old because I fell in love with baseball cards, right? And then I opened up, and then as you get older and the sets grew and like Top started doing these inserts, suddenly I was opening packs that had this is a game used jersey, 1 of 100. Oh, this is very valuable. And it was valuable because somebody else was willing to pay for it.
But I would argue that baseball cards are more like traditional stocks because they're actually based in like a tangible real world thing. You're like, I have a Griffey card. The Griffey card's only worth money because of how good Griffey was. Like that's a fact in the world. But it has a market cap.
But it was the value is based on the scarcity that was driven by the company that produced it.
Certainly part of it. That's
right?
certainly part of it. And they do that with stocks too. You know,
Right.
if you have, if everybody's holding and nobody's selling, then the value goes up because you can't buy it. You have to make a higher offer, right? So I don't know. I think but I agree. I'm just saying, like, I see why people put value in certain things. I don't see why they put value in other things.
Well, they were able to.
There's a literal Trump coin, right? There's like a gold coin that he sells, and there's a scarcity element. And at the end of the day, it's an $80 coin or whatever that's worth $1.50 in metal,
right?
And the scarcity is the only thing that makes it worthwhile outside of the culture war that is the culture of Trump.
And because Trump is popular in the same way Ken Griffey Jr. is popular, even though the piece of paper the baseball card is printed on is worth a cent.
Right.
The card is popular because people wear Ken Griffey jerseys. They want to say, hey, I got a Ken Griffey card. In the same way these people want their fucking stupid fight statue, and they're now buying like Trump odor in a bottle, whatever. Can you imagine what that Trump cologne smells like? The new
sweating hookers.
Yeah,
that's what it smells like.
Listen, I support sex workers here, so if it did smell like hookers, I might buy it to support them. But it's probably smells mostly like Trump and cat piss. Like that's what I imagine.
Yeah,
that's what I imagine it smells like. Okay. Speaking of hookers, as we often do. I almost got into this water everywhere. Did you see the post that Laura? Did you wait? Let's do a shout out to Kat. Did you see the post that Laura Loomer?
Oh
made
yeah,
about,
I know what you're talking about.
About Kat. Let's see if we let's see if I can find it really quick.
Should be high on our thing.
Oh, did I post about it, or did you post about it?
I'm sure one of us did. I'll look there. You look elsewhere. Just look on Kat's site. It's fine.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere on. Let me go to. We have a list for midterm candidates 2026, and in there you'll find right now just I think Mike Sachs and Kat Abagazala. I hope that I'm saying that right.
Man, did he get that right?
I think I got it right. Here it is
Sounded
anyway.
right.
This is what Laura
All
Loomer says about Kat had a very nice, provocative, if you will, photo on her Instagram. And Laura Loomer says, this is another communist candidate running for Congress in Illinois. If DSA, Dem Socialists had their way, Congress would be full of jihadists, because that's apparently, and wannabe hookers. So she's, imagine that combination, who want to seize all means of production. Whenever they see socialists, their brains just fucking short circuit. They just like, this means seize the means of production, and they don't understand anything. Not only is she running for Congress, but she's also dating one underscore Ben Collins, the CEO of The Onion. I don't know if that's actually true. Is that true? Good for them if it is. Who cares?
I thought his name was Tin Onion.
I thought it was. I don't know. And then she says, please cover your cooch, Kat Abagazala. Abagazala. Yeah, I think I'm saying it right. I'm gonna have to listen to her say her name.
Abagazala.
Abagazala.
I
I'm
mean,
saying it
sure,
right?
Sure.
We're gonna.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Her name's gonna be a household name soon, because she's going to win, and she's going to fight the kind of fight that AOC fights, and I believe that in her from everything that I've seen from her and her grassroots campaign. So, Laura Loomer, first of all, I want to thank you, because it's going to be posts like this that are going to make people aware of her when they weren't already, and it's going to drive hopefully people to donate to her campaign. So
donate to Kat if you got time and money.
Yeah, that was my speaking of hookers bit.
I thought you were just talking about Laura Loomer, because she's kind of a hooker. You know what I mean? Derogatory.
We're not. I don't want to use support sex workers.
Fine. She's
especially
just
since they're probably all going to get kicked off their health insurance as well. Maybe that's what the right wants. I don't know.
You want unhealthy hookers? Because this is how you get unhealthy hookers.
Jesus Christ. I think that's a great way to end.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us here on the Blues Edition podcast.
Is that today's podcast title? This is how you get unhealthy hookers.
I love it.
Okay. Let's end it there.
Check us out on Blue Sky. We've got a Blue Sky.
We've got a Blue Sky. What's going on with this?
Leave us a like. Leave a comment. Subscribe if you can. Doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps the channel.
It'll cost you a click and a heartbeat.
Yeah. And on the other podcast places, the places of podcasts, we're there too. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us everything. Give us everything.
Give us everything. We are going to seize the means of
We're going to seize the means of production
and your clicks. All right. Thanks everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.